The Hungarian Revolution of 1848, part of the wider European wave of uprisings that year, was not merely a political upheaval. It was an eruption of centuries-old tensions, dreams of national sovereignty, and secret plots woven deep into the country's folklore. More than a military campaign or a call for liberal reform, the revolution became a crucible where myth, martyrdom, and mystery were forged side by side. The fire begins. March 15th, 1848. Cloudy skies hung over Pest as students, poets, and reformists gathered near the Pillvax Cafe. Inspired by revolutions in Paris and Vienna, they demanded national autonomy, freedom of the press, and the abolition of feudal privileges. Leading the charge was the 25-year-old poet Sándor Petőfi, who recited his fiery national song before a swelling crowd. By day's end, the revolution had taken the streets. But not all believed the spark was spontaneous. For years prior, secretive gatherings had taken place in churches and inside noble mansions. A group known as Ver Testvere, the Blood Brothers, was said to have existed among radical nobles and army officers. They believed Hungary's freedom could only be born through blood, and their motto, whispered behind locked doors, was, "Only through fire shall the crown be pure." One recovered letter from an Austrian intelligence agent, dated 1847, references a Hungarian rite of thorns, supposedly held in the catacombs of Esztergom. Though historians debate its authenticity, it suggested that sacred relics from the Arpad dynasty had been unearthed, destined to anoint the new leader of Free Hungary. The role of the crown and the shadow of Vienna. The revolutionaries in Pest declared a new Hungarian government under Lajos Batthyány. At its head stood Lajos Kossuth, a brilliant orator and statesman whose speeches could shake the halls of parliament and rouse peasants in distant villages. Yet there were rumors that Kossuth himself was entangled in a deeper game. Some whispered he held a secret pact with foreign powers, particularly the British, to gain arms and recognition in exchange for mineral rights and strategic influence in the Carpathians. More strikingly, Kossuth was accused by his enemies of possessing the so-called Szent Korona Masalat, a forged duplicate of the Holy Crown of Hungary. According to legend, the original crown held divine authority bestowed by Saint Stephen, and whoever wore it without rightful claim would be cursed to see their nation fall. Was Kossuth's campaign doomed from the start, not by politics, but by sacrilege? Behind closed doors in Vienna, Emperor Ferdinand I and his advisors, including the powerful Prince Metternich, worked feverishly to suppress the revolution. Austrian spies infiltrated the Hungarian Diet and noble circles. At least one plot, a failed assassination of Batthyány in April 1848, was quietly covered up and later attributed to unknown radicals. Modern historians suspect Austrian involvement. Ghosts on the battlefield. The Hungarian army fought valiantly, led by generals like Artur Gorgai and József Bem. Yet strange tales emerged from the front lines. Soldiers claimed to see ghostly riders in the early mist, the Grey Hussars, who appeared before both victories and defeats. Some said they were spirits of fallen warriors from Hungary's medieval past. Others believed they were omens. At the decisive Battle of Temesvar in 1849, Hungarian forces suffered a crushing defeat. In the confusion of battle, several officers reported hearing chanting in Latin from a nearby forest. A search found nothing except a centuries-old ruined chapel with candles burned down to the wick. The vanishing of Petőfi. No mystery haunts the revolution more than the fate of Sándor Petőfi. He was last seen at the Battle of Segesvar in July 1849. Though officially declared dead, his body was never found. Russian records discovered decades later suggest he may have been captured by Cossacks and sent to Siberia. Others believe he lived on in exile, perhaps under another name, or even returned to Hungary in secret. Folk legends, however, say Petőfi became an Életközött Vándor, a cursed wanderer. In the plains of Alfeld, shepherds still claim to hear his voice in the wind, reciting verses never published, promising that one day he will return when Hungary has found her heart again. The Martyrs and the Masked Names. On October 6, 1849, 13 Hungarian generals were executed by Austrian authorities in Arad. They are remembered as the Arad Martyrs. One of them, Ernő Kiss, allegedly kept a diary written in code. Only fragments have survived, but they reference a great betrayal from within and a name we dare not speak. Speculation remains that a high-ranking Hungarian betrayed military plans to the Austrians, possibly even someone in Kossuth's inner circle. Kossuth himself fled into exile, denouncing the Austrians and Russians in every European capital. He never returned to Hungary. The Long Shadow of 1848. Though the revolution was crushed, its ideals lived on. In 1867, Hungary gained more autonomy through the Austro-Hungarian Compromise, partially fulfilling the revolution's demands. But for many Hungarians, true freedom was still a dream. The conspiracies, missing relics, and unanswered questions of 1848 remain part of Hungary's national identity. From secret lodges to cursed crowns, from spectral warriors to missing poets, the revolution lives not only in textbooks, but in the whispered tales of taverns, the folk songs of the countryside, and the quiet pages of censored books. It is not merely history. It is myth, memory, and mystery, woven into the soul of a nation still searching for wholeness.